Welcome to the Moonflower Path Podcast. This space is for the highly sensitive, the creatives, the earth-loving, the caregivers, the weirdos, the feelers, the change makers, and dreamers of the world. Here, we are all about guiding you to trust your body intuition so you can find home and shift culture. Through the exploration of somatic practice, self-care, and seasonal ritual, my hope is that you will be inspired to be in harmony with yourself and in a dance with the earth. I'm your host, Carolyn, and I'm so honored and grateful to be here with you today. We are wired for cooperation and collaboration. We evolved from cells who learned how to collaborate and cooperate with each other in order to grow and become the you that you are. So we are deeply wired for this. It is in our fundamental being, in our DNA. Yet, in all honesty, it seems that this is something we have lost somewhere along the way. So today, let's explore the few ways we can begin to come back to harmony with ourselves and with each other. Ultimately, what I think we all want for ourselves and for this world is love. Am I right? Love through the feelings of ease, care, compassion, harmony, peace, freedom, joy. That's not to say that we are oblivious to the realities that there's more to life and more to being human than continual rainbows and butterflies and peace all the damn time. But we could probably all agree that we could definitely use more of that compared to the state the world is in right now. The state of our collective sleep-deprived, productivity-driven, stressed the heck out selves. The state of the earth, the state of our socioeconomic systems, and so on and so forth. It's all a bit dire. And I believe that to come back to our inherent reality that we actually are built for cooperation and collaboration can build a beautiful path back to where we hope to be, in ourselves, with each other, and with the earth. And it starts with ourselves. It starts with turning to yourself, dear Moonflower. So let's see how, shall we? There are 3 components to today's episode: your nervous system, creating a collaborative relationship with your body, and healing in community. So first, let's talk about the nervous system. Man, oh man, is the nervous system having a moment right now. Whether or not the nervous system is a trend or not, I'm here for it. If we could all learn more about how to regulate our own nervous systems, the world will only be the better for it. It truly takes the only thing you can change or control is yourself reality into a whole new level. So if you haven't jumped on the nervous system regulation train yet, jump aboard, my friend. So what is the nervous system? I don't know who it is that I'm particularly speaking to, so maybe you are completely fully aware, or maybe you are brand new to this. So, your nervous system is responsible for all the movements in your body, voluntary and involuntary. Your autonomic nervous system comprises of your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. When you are in optimal arousal, meaning in the most at ease, most aligned, most effective state, you are operating from your parasympathetic nervous system, or your rest and digest. When you are in a heightened state of arousal, meaning you're in your fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response, you are operating from your sympathetic nervous system. Now, why is knowing this important? Well, to bring it back to the root of this episode, we are exploring ways that we can find more cooperation and collaboration in order to find more harmony. It can be quite difficult to cooperate from a place of anger, stress, paralysis, or people-pleasing. We need to feel whole, loved, grounded, nourished, calm, confident, and trusting in order to be able to work with ourselves and with others effectively. And again, our nervous system is an intricate and beautifully synergistic system that knows how to work cooperatively. Sensations in the body trigger to the brain that our body is feeling certain emotions, which then signals to the body how to respond and vice versa. It's all so beautifully woven and well working. To know this reminds us of our fundamental capacity to work and be in harmony. So how do we regulate the nervous system? Well, if I were to answer this question here and now, we'd be here forever because there are many different ways to do this, and it truly would be beneficial for it to become an active part of your self-care journey. So for ease's sake, the single most effective way to begin to regulate and soothe your nervous system is through first becoming present to it, beginning to learn more about what your body feels in certain situations, what a fight state feels like in your body, what a freeze state feels like in your body, what people, places, and situations trigger those feelings in your body. Then from there, you can begin to learn tools in those moments to ease those sensations instead of feel trapped by them. But this takes time, lovely. I'm very much at the beginning of learning and implementing this, so stick around and we will continue to learn and support each other on this journey. So we know a bit more about the nervous system, how it works, and how it can be a teacher in a collaboration and cooperation. So really, to learn more about your nervous system is to begin to create a collaborative relationship with your body. Which brings us right to the next point. I'm sure that you have extensive experience in feeling overwhelmed or just very full with emotions or sensations in your body, whether they be comfortable sensations or uncomfortable sensations. I also can imagine that you're well accustomed to ignoring or trying to quiet those sensations. To use myself as an example, I used to be very familiar with just the simple act of ignoring when I was tired. This is like so simple, but it's so common. It didn't matter, right? When I was tired, like I had things to do. Or what would people think of me if I took an afternoon nap? It's just like, nope, not tired. Instead, I'm going to drink a cup of coffee and just get through with it. Well, that is not my reality anymore. Yes, of course, there are times where I can't just take an afternoon nap or pause everything if I'm tired, but to no longer ignore the dips in energy and to actually honor them and offer my body what I need in those moments has been life-changing. Underlined, capital, exclamation points. Another example could be the times I've been on my mat, my yoga mat, and the teacher guides us through a very still and gentle yin practice, but I'm noticing myself feeling restless and fidgety. Well, instead of shaming myself for not being able to sit still that day, to let myself move exploratorily within a posture and shake and wiggle my fingers and my toes. If it helps me feel better, it's not hurting anyone. So why ignore it? Why try to be another way? Why try and feel another thing instead of being like, oh, all right, let's get curious about this and actually like move this through. I am a deep believer that to learn within the safety of your self-care practices what it can look like and feel like to create a collaborative relationship with your body instead of a combative one can lead to a sense of coming home to ourselves. It can lead to a sense of deep love, deep acceptance, deep knowing of our worthiness and enoughness. And from that place, we can show up fully to our own lives and work collaboratively with others and the earth towards a more harmonious relationship. I don't actually practice self-care for myself solely and to better myself. I do in part, yes, but it's not the only reason. I practice self-care so I can show up more effectively, wholly, and lovingly for others and in my life. It's not one or the other, it's both and. I practice self-care so I can have those challenging conversations. I practice self-care so that I can remain calm and grounded within arguments. I mean, it doesn't happen 100% of the time. Maybe it doesn't even happen like 70% of the time, but it definitely happens more than never. That is why I practice self-care. Which brings us then to the last point. If self-care isn't about just the self and it's a means to being able to show up in our lives and in our relationships and in this world with others, to be more tolerant, to be more forgiving, to be more compassionate filled, then it would make sense that we do this within community. Did you know that we can actually co-regulate our nervous systems? I'm sure that you already know this, even if you don't know it. Like I'm sure that your heart and your body knows this, even if your mind didn't already know this as a psychological concept. We've all experienced being around another person who is agitated and feel ourselves feel a similar agitation without there having to be any words exchanged. Or being around another person who is at ease or calm and begin to feel a similar sense of calm. I would also argue that if you identify as highly sensitive, that you most likely experience this on a deeper and more consistent manner. But this isn't by accident or even some super woo concept. Without getting super technical about it, the state of our nervous system has effect on the world around us through seen and felt signals and cues. So, to continue to put into practice collaboration and cooperation, especially now that we know the nervous system plays such a key role, we would benefit from doing this together. We don't heal alone, darling. We heal together. To be around others who are also focusing their attention and care on learning ways to care for and collaborate with themselves will only help you along your own path. And I've had folks say to me, well, then why are you launching an online community if so much of the research around co-regulation is done in physical spaces, right? Around the research done from HeartMath, for example, about the effect that our electromagnetic field around our hearts has effect on the physical people in our space, which is so fascinating, so interesting if you want to do more research and look more into the HeartMath Institute. And there's other things like the actual physical act of slowing down your breath can actually elicit the same act in somebody else in your own space. It's like easy. Like I've done this and I've actually witnessed it when I used to teach in yoga studios, where if I would walk around in the room and I would walk by the students that were laying on their mats and that I would take deep breaths, I could see a shift happen in the way in which the folks that were around me would actually breathe. So that is all true, and that there's some really magical stuff that can happen when we are focusing on calming ourselves and healing ourselves when we are in a space together. However, I have been teaching online yoga classes for over 2 years now, and I can say with absolute certainty that healing together, co-regulating, soothing our nervous systems together can absolutely happen in online spaces. It isn't only done through felt senses. It is done through the way that we speak to each other. It is done through being in our own individual safe spaces. It is done through gentle curiosity and deep compassion. We take a deep breath together at the end of every single practice that I teach, and I swear I can feel us breathing together, even if we're hundreds of kilometers apart. So, we come back to the why of this episode. Why was it important for me to explore our capacity as well as need for collaboration and cooperation in this conversation? Because we need it, darling. As mentioned at the beginning of the episode, in order to find more harmony and peace in the world, we need to be able to work together, because it sure as hell isn't working with working apart. We need to be able to have nuanced and challenging conversations with folks we actually don't agree with. We need to be able to look at the disastrous state of the climate and feel a sense of hope that we can do something about it. We need to be able to come together to find creative solutions to the problems we find ourselves in. In order to do all of that, it starts with ourselves. It starts with turning to ourselves and getting curious about the ways we've been in a battle with ourselves and learn the skills to come back to working in harmony with ourselves. And I believe that you, Moonflower, have a unique ability to do that. You have a unique ability to feel deeper, sense wider, dream bigger, and create beautifully. So let's use those skills for good. If all of this sounds exciting and enticing, you are gently invited to put your name on the waitlist for the Moonflower Path Community Space, opening on April 17th. By putting your name on the waitlist, you will be the first to know when the doors open and offered the invitation to become a founding member with exclusive pricing. The link to be able to put your name on the waitlist is found in the show notes, and there's a few other resources that I've put in the show notes as well for you to peruse and explore. But for now, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope that it was supportive, inspiring. That's the word. I hope that it was inspiring. Let's heal together. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Moonflower Path podcast. I'm your host, Carolyn, and ways that you can find more support from me and this cozy community are all found in the show notes. Please consider rating, reviewing, and sharing this podcast with a friend. Those are the best ways to show your support for this free and accessible resource. Wishing you a gentle rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting again with you very soon.